You know, every time I look at this truck, I smile. Every single time. So anyway, what I'm doing now is I'm getting some more clay brought in tomorrow to finish the last low spots here and bring it up to grade all the way out to the whole width of the shop. So I thought, you know what, it's dry enough. Why don't I pull the Pete up here and let her do a little bit of work and help pack down the clay in preparation for her new home. So we'll keep going with that. And I can hear the comments already being typed. You need a sheep's foot packer. You can't use a truck to do this. And that's probably true, but hey, every little bit's gonna help. So I'm gonna put her to work, go back and forth a bunch more times and pack this down as best we can. I probably still will get a packer in eventually before we put the pad on. But for now, this is more fun. So let's get at it. That thing is hard to steer. I would not want to have to parallel park this truck. So you know what we're gonna do? Something that has been long overdue on this truck ever since I got it. We are gonna swap out that and that. Through that tailgate. All right, let's get down to business. So we need to take the power steering pump off of there and then also the steering box. I'm going to start with the hardest one first. So first up, we'll get this, I guess you call it a fender extension or elephant ear, whatever it's called. We'll get that off of there. And then we're going to have to somehow pull this guy off. I think it should turn on that steering knuckle there, so we should be able to use a gear puller and pull this off the spline shaft, and then we'll disconnect the lines and we'll get my trusty impact to get some of these big bolts out, and we should just be able to lower this guy down and Bob's your uncle. But we'll see. Fingers crossed. I was going to scribe a mark on there, but there's actually the output shaft here has got these marks on it, which you line up for the connecting arm there. So that's pretty cool. Now I'm hoping this puller that I bought is heavy duty enough for this. I guess we're going to find out. Okay, I don't even know if it's going to work. Yeah, I don't know if it will. Well, maybe. Do something like that. Get down there. Okay. I should probably have some seat glasses on. Just in case. to be coming off, so we'll see. Oh, there we go. I was only on setting 2. Now we're getting the juice. Oh, yeah. Nice. Okay. Get that out of the way. Okay. Now again, the reason I'm replacing the steering box, I believe the reason we don't have any power steering is likely due to that pump. But even if the pump gets replaced and it repressurizes the system, so I don't know if something's wrong with this, but even if there's something not wrong with this functionally, it leaks like you've never seen. Every time I fill up the power steering reservoir with tranny fluid, it just leaks out of the seals. So I talked to a local power steering shop, and they were saying that it actually costs almost just as much by the time you take it apart and put new seals in than to just do the exchange. I think the exchange is only an extra couple hundred. And he actually, amazingly enough, has one of these old pumps still sitting on the shelf. So we're gonna get this off of here and we'll wheel over there this afternoon and do a swap of both this and the pump. So theoretically, it should just be a direct swap, unbolt it from the frame, and then and put the other one in there. Now it looks like I'm going to have to obviously disconnect the lines, but then also the universal joint coming down here onto the spline shaft from the steering wheel. And then I believe it's just these gigantic 3 bolts. So I'll probably have to figure out a way to get a wrench in on the inside to hold the nut, and then we'll just use our famous Milwaukee to get these 3 guys off of here. And I hope this isn't too heavy. I mean, obviously it's going to want to fall, but I'm thinking I can probably hold it up when I get that last bolt out and then slowly let it down to the ground. Maybe I'll block up here so it could just set onto blocks. All right, we'll figure this out. But you can see that the transmission fluid, this was covered in oil when I dragged it out of the field, and it's been leaking so much both out of this seal and this, that the automatic transmission fluid, which is kind of like a detergent, has just cleaned off all the oil and even all the blue paint. So you can tell how bad it was leaking. All right, let's talk more work. These are just not going easy. It's so hard to get the wrench in there with the injection pump right so close. And you're kind of blind to see what's doing there, but I think I can keep fumbling with it. That third one on the bottom is a bear too, because it's completely encased in old dirt and grease. So I'm gonna have to dig it out. Take out access to that nut and then just keep working at this, but we'll get it. Always have, always will. There, I was finally able to get a socket on the inside after I removed enough gunk from 40 years of driving down gravel roads. Now we'll see if we can get this off of here. Oh, I could see why I was putting this power steering pump off till later in the project. Okay. Couldn't be that easy. Oh, beauty! Nice. Okay. How heavy is this stupid thing? Get that out of there. Now, if you put the top one in for safety. Oh. Let's see, can a guy lift this? Yeah, I think so. All right. Maybe I need a new battery. And that was everything that Milwaukee could do to get that bolt off. I don't know if it was cross-threaded or what. That nut was hot. Glad it didn't turn off or light off all the diesel-soaked grease on the inside of the engine there. Okay. So what I did was I put an extra bolt in so it didn't fall on my foot. Yeah. Those threads are pretty flat. I'll tell you one thing, this power steering pump wasn't just going to fall off the truck. That's for darn sure. Okay, here we go. We'll find out how heavy this thing is. There. Oh, that thing is stout. Oh. 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 Okay. One steering box removed. Okay. Well, no worse for the wear. We'll get some brake clean and clean all this crap up. Wonder if that was some kind of shim or something. Or something that just fell in there somewhere in the life of the truck. Okay, I'm glad I did the hard job first. Now we'll do the easy one and get that pump off of there. All right. Come on out of there. So as you can see, it's just it's a gear off the motor there that just turns this input shaft, and then of course it's got the reservoir of fluid, and it pressurizes it, and then it sends one line to the pump and then the return. So it's just the circuit of pressurized oil, but for whatever reason it's not working. I think it's got something to do with this pump. So we'll take this back, we'll get a new pump, we'll get a new steering box, and we'll do the reverse of what we just did. Mint. So I'm just at Hydrosteer on the West End, and they hooked me up with an exact copy of the steering box that was on my truck. They even swapped the fittings for me, and then I got an exact pump as well. Now he said these kind of come generic, so they had to do a little bit of work to make it, because it actually spins in reverse, so they had to swap a few things around, but she's all ready to go. All right, let's get her back home and back on the truck.
Well, let's say I don't have enough money to buy something. Should I buy it anyway? No.
There, that cleaned up pretty good. And I figured we couldn't put that shiny new black pump on there without cleaning this up and painting it. So I threw down some black, and I used my old tinfoil trick to keep my fittings looking nice. I'm happy with that. That looks pretty sharp, especially with the yellow cat engine. And I figured, well, what's good for one side is good for the other. So I got that done as well, which I'm happy with. It's supper time now, so I better call it a night. It's supposed to snow tomorrow, so we'll let this dry overnight, and then we'll start putting that pump on in the first thing in the morning. Oh, this thing's heavy. All right, so it's a beautiful morning. Looks like the paint has dried up nicely. Oh, you can see your breath again, so I guess spring isn't quite here. Actually, my cousin called this morning and said that he got a foot of snow up his way, and it's supposed to be heading here this afternoon. So before it starts raining and snowing, we'll try and get this new steering box and pump on and prime it up and see if we've got power steering again. So let's get at her. Okay, I've tried this a few times, and I think this time's going to be the ticket. So I got some new bolts from the bolt supply house, same grade. What I did was I flipped one around backwards to use as a stud to throw the steering box up on there. Again, this is the third try. And every time I was trying to monkey around with it up there, the bolt kept going, shooting in. So now we got some vice grips. So that should hold that in place. And hopefully this is the last time I need to lift this stupid thing into place. Because this is not light. Oh, good. And it's just an awful spot to try and get it in there. Okay. Oh, okay. Get on there. Yes. Okay. Don't drop it on your foot. Stay. Put the bolt on there. Okay. Hung. Okay, I'll get the vice grips out of there if I can. All right. I'll try and get a second one started. And again, because of the additional length, I'll throw a couple washers. Try and eat up some of that length. There, something like that. Don't want to do that again. Okay, a little PSA, and I darn well know better, but whenever you're working on your truck, the motor or anything else, it's always a good idea to disconnect your batteries. You got live wires and you never know. What ended up happening there with the sparks was the long wrench I was using, actually, as I was tightening, it went over and took one of the wires, I'm not sure what it's for, and squashed it and then went to ground. So that's what the sparks were. So again, I know better, but a good best practice is to make sure that you disconnect your batteries before you start mucking around with your motor or anything else, because you don't want to burn your truck to the ground. So with that, we're just about done bolting that on there and torquing it up. So next we're going to put on the pitman arm and keep moving forward. Now that doesn't quite line up, so what I might need to do is, well, actually what I'll do is I'll connect the little shaft on this guy, then I can use the steering wheel to get this to turn just slightly to get those marks to line up. No, down probably a couple. Okay, but you get the idea. I'll keep monkeying with it here. Okay, home stretch. I believe I got everything hooked up correctly. So now we'll just put some automatic tranny fluid in the reservoir and hopefully it doesn't leak all out on the ground. I bought a nice 5-gallon pail of stuff from Walmart. The best stuff comes from Walmart, don't you know? Not really, but it's cheap. Oh, okay. And it'll work for this purpose. All right. Don't spill it, Mark. All right, so she's back up and running. I don't see any leaks. I gotta let the air purge out of the system, so yeah, we still got oil in there. Good. Okay, we'll let it run for a bit and try and purge as much air as possible. Let the oil cycle through a few times before we start playing around with the and see if we got power steering. All right, for those following along at home, I'm not too proud to say that I should read instructions. So I had the thing running. It still didn't have power steering. So I thought maybe I'll loosen the fittings off and bleed out some air. So I did those and I did that one, but then when I turned the motor off, because I don't want to mess around near the fan, I disconnected that one and it's dry. So it's not getting, the feed goes in and it's not returning back to the pump. So I read the instructions and it says you're supposed to put the pitman arm on after you prime the system, run it, and crank the wheel all the way to the left and all the way to the right. And that basically moves the piston both ways and allows the fluid to flow through the steering box and then back into the reservoir. So with that, we need to take the pitman arm off, and then we'll do that, and then we'll put it back on again. But oh well, I gotta learn how to read instructions. Well, I have to say that I'm a little disappointed. So I did everything by procedure to bleed it out, and I don't have power steering. It's still just as brutal as it was before I put this new kit on here. So hope this wasn't a $1,200 mistake. I can't figure it out. I even took the pump apart and flipped the diverter plate around 180 degrees because I thought maybe it wasn't pumping, because he mentioned that they flipped theirs to match my truck. So I flipped it back and I thought that might be it. Bled all the fuel, filled it back up again. It's topped up. I don't know. I mean, I've even cracked the lines to try and get air out of the system, because air in the system is one reason that you could have hard steering. And I don't know. I guess maybe I'll just leave it and maybe the air will naturally bleed itself out of there. Or I don't know. Boy, how quick a day can change. I'm glad I got it parked before all this hit. So right now I got it parked with the drag link off, and there's still some resistance. I mean, I don't think there should be any resistance if the power steering is truly working. I mean, it's pretty free, but there's a certain point right about here where there's a little bit of resistance. So I don't know if there's something wrong with the steering box, if the piston is buggered, or if we're still not building pressure. But man, that's a bummer. I so wanted power steering. Yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be resistance. So the manual says that if you go all the way from one stop to the other, it helps get air out of the system. So there still could be air in the system, but I don't know. I just get the sense it's not working. So I guess back to the drawing board. Maybe I got to pull the box and the pump off and take them back, and we'll test them on the bench, find out what the heck's going on. But if the fans out there have any ideas, I'd love to hear them.